Greetings to you all and hello. Welcome to this very, very critical broadcast. We are still speaking to matters relating to cycling. And today, as one who's known for being quite transparent, open, forthright, I'm here for those cyclists and those enthusiasts who are the enthusiasts who would have called and who are wondering and who would have made comments as to why my tendering a resignation from the executive body of the Guyana Cycling Federation. Further to that, to those who are or would have said I should not have resigned, I should have stood my ground. There's no ground to stand, and you'll understand why I'm saying that. On which I would stand when it comes to weak, fearful, unjust individuals. So to those brothers and sisters in the cycling body, I am here for your sake. And to the general public, even Charles Ramson, I'm here to address this matter publicly. Today, you'll understand clearly why or when I tendered my resignation. And you'll have a better understanding because I didn't tender my resignation as soon as there was an issue regarding the people's comments about the road being closed for the Caribbean Championships, as opposed to roads being closed or while the roads were closed for the Diwali, there was no problem in many circles. The racist comments and the racist bigoted remarks. That was not why I tendered or when I tendered my resignation. It was events that followed that caused me to tender my resignation because it compounded the issue that I was facing. And this speaks to one individual in particular, actually two of them. One is an executive member of the Federation, the other one is not an executive member. They're both in the Federation, and both are afraid to act responsibly and justly. I have an issue when certain cyclists who are not associated with the big boys club, and some of you in cycling know what I'm talking about. There's a club some people believe, this individual apparently believes that they have so many connections in reference to the executives that they could affect his job. And they could make certain calls and make certain things happen, and they can affect many things from happening in this country. And I've repeatedly said to this man that there's nobody who should have you function in that manner. If we're going to function fairly and justly, then let's do that. So while we proceed, or before we proceed, please indicate to me whether you can hear me clearly, and you can also see me clearly, because this broadcast must be made known and clear. Today, cyclists who are concerned about my position, because you all know, I defend the cause of cyclists, but I don't tolerate cheating. I defend the cause of cyclists, but I don't tolerate indiscipline. I am not going to accept anybody function in a manner that is disrespectful and indisciplined. And worst, I am totally against cheating. Once I discover that you are a cheat, I will address that matter at the federation level in reference to the executive aspect of it. I have never tolerated it. And this situation that I represent the evidence to you will show you why and when I tendered my resignation. I said to the person and to that group, I am out, because I recognize that games are being played with people who would have worked hard, who've toiled, and it's wrong for you to cheat anybody out of a rightful position because of fear of some club being connected to the big boys in Guyana and what they can do to you. I'm not going to have that. So thank you, Conan. Thank you for the feedback. Now, as you can see, I came back from my ride, right? I went riding this morning, so I'm back from my ride, and I want to present to you with the truth. You with the truth. And you know me by now. I don't come to speak on any matter without evidence. That's what they can't handle me for. I don't just come to talk. I present the hardcore evidence, the irrefutable evidence, the undeniable truth. And I dare anyone to do the same. That's how I function. Now, for the sake of possible legal matters in the future, I wouldn't name certain people right now. I play chess, I don't play checkers. So I'm going to just present to you the situation. And whoever jumps out of the pond and decides to act, you'll know exactly who the person I was speaking about. So I'm not going to mention names. This is chess we're playing here. I wouldn't say their names. I will present to you what has happened. I'll say the name of one person, Horace Burroughs, because you wouldn't mind my saying his name. So once I present to you Horace's name, you will know from other people's reactions who we're talking about. It's that simple. Now, what led to my tendering my resignation at that particular time, and then of course making it public? This is where cyclists, if you're not into cycling, you may not understand this, but actually, once you have common sense, you would understand what I'm saying to you. There was a race called the One Guyana three-stage race. The first stage was held in New Amsterdam, or from New Amsterdam to, in one instant, for the category 4 or 5 people, which I'm a part. We were on some other veterans. We rode up to I think it's number 43 or 47, somewhere around there. So we did a 60-mile ride. The others went up to number 63, village under quarantine, upper quarantine. That had been 70 plus miles, just about 70 miles, a little more than 70 miles, okay? So I want to show you what has happened and why even in sports, discipline is an issue, because individuals in sports who are decision makers can't do certain things. You remember when I told you, and this is a segue, but just permit me. Remember when I said to you, I find it difficult to comprehend even at the Olympics that was recently held, Paris. How do you have someone who was given a wild card? I mean, she wasn't qualified to be in there, but they just allowed her to go there, being Chelsea agent. She was given a wild card, but she could be the flag bearer. And those like the Abrams and Emmanuel Archibald, they were not the flag bearers when they qualified based on their performance. And I have an issue with that, because it shows you, remember I said, Edgel, it shows you what this country is about. How do you have somebody who got a wild card being a flag bearer, and those who qualified based on their performance were not allowed to be the flag bearer of this country? It is evident that politics has a very deep rooting, the PVP's politics in sports in Guyana. And I have an issue with that, because I don't follow any political party, ARC, PNC, none of y'all. And you know why? You know my stance, because I don't tolerate people who are weak and who cannot stand strongly against nonsense. And I don't tolerate people who are unjust to others. And that's why the people have an issue. So there was this 3-stage race. My then position was the vice president of the disciplinary committee. Therefore, any matter regarding discipline would have had to come to that committee, of which I was the head. According to the constitution of the Guyana Cycling Federation, the president is what is called a de facto member, and so is the general secretary. So if any group that's formed, any committee there is functioning according to the constitution, you have to have the secretary there, because obviously there must be communications had. Shalom and positive, the communications had between clubs or individuals and others entities. So the secretary must be there, the president must be there, and other members. It would be a vice president. One of the 3 vice presidents would have 3 committees. You have the finance committee, the disciplinary committee, and the racing committee. So there were executive members within these committees, as well as other members who were what would make up what's called the council. And I'm sharing this with you for you to understand the dynamics that were at play here. In this 3-stage cycle race, for one, the race started at 9 a.m. in the blazing, after 9:30 or so. We rode in the blazing, sweltering heat. It was a torturous day. Then the wind, the 19 road, the quarantine, the East Coast quarantine road, as a matter of fact. The wind and the sun, it was horrible. It was painful to ride through that. So I understand the passion that would be applied to anyone who would have given so much of their energy, only to discover that they were cheated out of a particular position or out of positions. I have an issue with that. And I don't think any fair-minded person would not have an issue with that. So I want to start by presenting with a particular bit of data. And this is where you're going to see how I coach, because of course, when I coach my daughter, Suzanne, and when she was writing, I would analyze data, because that government has a lot to do with how you know someone is tired, or how they perform and so on. So there's something called a computer, and this computer that you use on a bicycle, it gives you feedback as to your performance. It tells you about your speed, it tells you about the distance you've traveled, the time it took to travel that distance. And in some cases, it will tell you about the calories you've burned. Now, that's important. Pay attention to that. The calories you burn, meaning, excuse me, at a particular energy level or output, my body is going to use energy. That's what we call it kilojoules, or you call it calories, kilocalories, thousands of calories. So as I eat food, my body uses that food as fuel. And remember science teacher, right? It just has to come out of me. Your body will use food as fuel. And as that fuel is burned, there's certain metrics that they use, or algorithms, and the computer, they can calculate very, very closely the calories you use. And if you use 500 calories while you're riding, or 1,000 calories, you have to eat. That's why you find us eating our succulent and gels during the cycle race, because you have to eat to replenish that calorie level. If not, you're going to lose more and more energy, and then you fail. The more effort you put out, the higher caloric count in reference to its usage, it's burning. You burn more calories if you use more energy. So the harder I ride, the faster I ride, the more energy I put into the pedals, the higher will be my caloric depletion in reference to how much energy I use, how much calories I burn, how many calories I burn. It's important for you to take note of now. So when this race was done, there was a complaint lodged. And the complaint that was lodged was that there was an individual who was dropped, meaning he fell away from the group ahead of him, and he was behind in reference to timing. So he was you measured by minute gaps. So he was 4, 5, and 1 point 10 minutes behind the people in front of him. He was dropped, meaning he couldn't keep up with the pace. He was dropped. This said individual, after being dropped, and those of you who ride understand what I'm talking about, on the upward journey that is against the breeze, he was dropped. Now you cannot close that gap against the breeze, so he's in the wind, headwind. He was popped. He was dropped. 3 people or more saw him dropped. Cyclists said they saw that he was dropped. One individual told one who was following on the motorcycle, "Stop your bike, stop the motorcycle," and begin to time, because I guess he knew what he's doing with. He said, "Begin to time the time gap between me and this person. So when I pass you, start a watch. And when the other person appears, that's how you know the gap between." So the person did that. I reported that there was a 4-minute gap. 4 minutes, just about, when he appeared, when they got this information. The number 19 road is about 3 point something miles, maybe 4 miles long. And before that's at the 19 road, this time was checked. Before the 19 road was finished, this person caught them back. That requires a superhuman effort to close that 10-minute gap, bring it down to 4 minutes, and then catch a person within 4 miles. You have to ride at least about 60 or 70 miles an hour. Now, do you hear what I said? Not kilometers an hour. You have to ride at over 120, or between 100 to 120 kilometers per hour to close such a gap so fast. Remember that I was trained to teach secondary school science. I'm trained to teach physics as well, so I'm not a dummy here. To close that distance, because to understand the speed at which you have to travel to close that gap, it is humanly impossible. It's not difficult. It is impossible. Because remember, the person ahead of you hasn't stopped. They're still moving. So when this complaint came, the individual who is an executive member of the Federation refused to act. I had to keep saying, this has to be fixed. This has to be addressed. We must deal with this matter. Let the truth come out today. And evidence is there I could share it at any point at their request. I kept saying that this is unjust, it's unfair to cyclists. There's no way that someone could do this, and watch this, and finish ahead of the group that was in front of him. Not just catch them, he finished ahead of them. So let me present you with what I said. I said, okay, send us the data. And by table data here, which would be the report from the computer. This tracks you all the way. Once you hit start, it's going to track all that you did. Send us the data. Once we get this data, it will be analyzed, and then we can have the necessary hearing. Let me present to you certain bits of evidence now you have an idea, so I can begin to speak further on this matter. Let me show you something. Let me show you this. Let me see if I can find the data for you. Give me a second. Okay. Forgive the People's Movement logo. I have to use that to get the data out for you, okay? Some of you are going to learn about cycling today. Take a look at this. Look at it quite carefully, please. The data on the left, you see it says New Amsterdam road cycling. Okay, so let's begin from the top. Let's analyze what's happening here. So you have got distance 76.71 miles. That's one cyclist who there's a complaint. So I said, okay, then present me with data of the two so I can compare what's happening among the pill. And other people give data. So I wanted to have a comparative analysis done. All right. The other person wrote 77.3. So that's just 0.6 of a mile difference. A little more than half a mile. So there's no big difference here. Now, I want you to pay attention to this. And you can type your comment for me. The time, total time, just below the distance now. Just below the distance written. Total time. Check that out. I'll be right back. So look at the time taken. Now this is where it gets interesting. The one on the left took 3 hours and 26 minutes, 10 seconds to finish this race. You wouldn't believe your eyes here. The other person on the right took 3 hours and 37 minutes, 10 minutes more, 46 seconds. Okay, you see a little encircled area there. It speaks to miles per hour now, which would be the average speed. The person on the left rode an average speed of 22.3 miles per hour. The person on the right rode at 21.3 miles an hour. So it's 1 mile an hour slower. You all with me so far? Okay. Listen to me carefully, please. Let me take the camera off, or put the camera back on. Remove this image so you can see my face here. Remember what you're seeing on the screen, okay? Remember what you're seeing on the screen because there's more to show you. And cyclists, this is for your sake I'm doing this. Okay. Can anyone out in the world tell me, how then is it possible for someone to ride 10 minutes slower than the one on the left, but finish across the line ahead of him? I want anybody in Guyana, all y'all who want to hop, some of you, and take sides, and the others who are concerned about why I would have resigned. When I said that this must be dealt with, and individuals kept backpedaling and saying that he has to be cautious and stuff like that, I don't play that game, because this is too glaring. So I want you in the world now. Let's bring this. I'm no longer an executive of the Federation, so I could talk now. And I can make it known now, so I have an issue with certain things. I want you to tell me the truth. Tell me how you can explain. How can a cyclist explain that he took 10 minutes more than his competitor to finish the course, but he finished ahead of the person? Now you all tell me, because I could tell exactly what happened, and I will explain to you the only possibility of it happening. But there are those in the cycling fraternity who are compelled to take a side. So can you hear me still? Type your comments if you can. Tell me how, additionally, you can ride an average of 77 miles, 1 mile per hour, and that's no easy feat here. 1 mile per hour slower than somebody, but you still finish ahead of them. I will tell you how that's possible as well. I'm happy the cyclists are on this broadcast, and some of you will come afterwards to see why I, on this day when this matter was raised again, I left. This is when I said, you know what, I'm done with y'all. I'm done with this one individual, as a matter of fact. I'm finished with you because I realized that you're playing a game with people's lives here. And I left. Let's look at the data. I'm so glad my daughter is here. Okay, Suzanne wrote it. She's been tortured by me on the road so much. Suzanne, look at this, because you can speak to this from experience. Can you imagine somebody riding slower than you over 77 miles? 10 minutes behind you in reference to timing, but finish ahead of you at the finish line? How is that even humanly possible? How does it even make sense? I know it sounds stupid to some of you, right? It cannot make sense. The person finished the race 10 minutes after another individual in reference to the timing then. So if you're looking at the race, if you stood at the side of the road, you'd expect the person on the left to cross the line first or before. And then the person on the right would have taken 10 minutes, and then you see them here. In this case, the person on the right, whose time is 10 minutes more, cross ahead of the person on the left. So I said this is impossible, and this has to be investigated. That's what the UCI rules govern. You dictate you have to investigate these matters. Okay, you think that's bad? Now let me take the bigger one. Look, you see below on the right side, there's 6,215. Look at that. That's total calories. Now, please pay attention to that. 6,215 on the right. The person who finished 10 minutes, who should have finished 10 minutes after, it was total time, but finished ahead, has also burned 6,215 calories on a flat course. Flat course. The only thing you have to climb is the country bridge. Nothing else. Flat, pancake flat course. Because that's on the low coastal plain of Guyana. So there's no hill there. On a flat course with no mountain to climb, this person would have used 6,215 calories. Now let me show you another image. Let me show you something else, please. So I went and I said, because I understand, I write so I can know how many calories I burn. But I took the time to study, because that's what I do. I do research. I'm a scientist by nature. So I went to do research. Take a look at this. I said, how many calories do you burn riding a bike at 20 miles an hour? Remember, the person's average speed was what? 21 miles an hour. So this is just in the ballpark. How many? Look at this. According to Harvard University, not the University of Guyana, Not Ifat University that Ali went to. No, this is Harvard University. According to Harvard University, a 155-pound person, because your weight plays into how many calories you burn. This person will be about 170, 180 pounds, so not much difference. A person biking outdoors at moderate pace of 12 to 30 miles an hour for 30 minutes may burn 298 calories. If they're cycling at 20 miles an hour or more, they may burn 614 calories for 30 minutes. So in 1 hour, you're going to burn, let's say, 1,200 calories. In 3 hours, you're going to burn 3,600 calories. Okay. Pay attention, brothers and sisters. This person rode on a flat course for 3.5 hours, and they burned twice as much, just about, calories than somebody who would have ridden at 21 miles an hour. So how do you burn 6,000 calories when a Harvard study of thousands of people prove that if you ride it in this same speed, this same speed here, you're going to burn just about 3,000 calories? How do you burn 6,000? We need answers. And I said that we need answers. My contention was that this was not going to go down like that, because somebody had to give an account as to what happened. Now, this race took place before the Caribbean Championships. I said that it must be investigated. And I'll show you evidence from the Constitution and the UCI's regulations that this should be investigated. The individual said, no, we have to be smart. No, we can't do that. We have to wait, because if we investigate this individual, remember this is a big boy club now, big boys club. It could threaten us being funded for the Caribbean Championships. Look at the mentality of people in this country, that if you no, sure. This was about the 3 stages held just before. So I was explaining to people now. So if we decide to investigate a glaring irregularity, then no, we would lose because of connections of these people. We're going to lose it, could lose possibly the opportunity to host the Caribbean Championship. I said Air Finale has far more sense than that, because with 19 countries coming to Guyana, just about 18, possibly 20, it doesn't make any sense to jeopardize his public image for the sake of one person who has no political power or no societal influence to do anything. But the person to whom I spoke was still afraid to act. We agreed at the committee level that, okay, we're going to wait. I said, when you tell me when you want us to investigate this matter, because it will be investigated. He was suggesting that eyewitnesses statements can't work. And I said, since when? How could people go to court and give eyewitness statement, but you can't give eyewitness statement in the Guyana Cycling Federation? How does the Constitution of Guyana, the Criminal Offences Act, permit eyewitnesses, their testimony to be used in the court of law, but in the Guyana Cycling Federation, you can't have eyewitness testimony? Those are all things I have to be dealing with. And I said, beyond the eyewitness testimony, you have data. So this is not eyewitness anymore. This is where the computer is telling you, giving you feedback. This is what is before you. All you have to do is analyze the data. When you analyze the data, you recognize that this, according to Harvard University, according to the pros, the professionals who ride the Tour de France, sometimes do not burn 4,000 calories a day, and they ride for 5 hours. These are World Tour professional riders who have to ride hills and mountains. They don't burn, on average, 6,000 calories. It has to be a grueling day in Mont Ventoux or the Alps or somewhere where they may burn 7,000 calories. And that's the winners will do that. Now you're telling me that on a flat course, pancake flat, this person rode better than Hear this, better than, in reference to the effort here, by caloric measurement, he put out more energy and effort than the best riders in the world. So he should be at the World Championships then. I said that. He should represent Guyana at the Olympics because he didn't even qualify for that. He's beaten by people here. Susan and I would ride the highway, exactly. 5 hours of riding, sometimes 7 hours of riding when we have very long days. And we've never burned 4,000 calories. In the sun too, sometimes. Climbing 30-something hills. 20-something to go, 20-something to come, then go over to Wisma, ride up Blueberry Hill, down, ride up 1 Mile Hill, ride all them. All that we do. And we've never burned 4,000 calories. This fellow rode on a flat course and burned 6,000 calories over 3 hours. You know, is it to burn 6,000 calories in 3 hours? Do you understand how fast you have to be moving? But then the computer shows he wasn't moving as fast as we said. So something happened. What transpired? Let me tell you how it can happen. First of all, if you put your bike in a vehicle, in a car or a van, or a truck, and that truck begin to move, the computer will still record the pace at which you're moving, and it will assume that you're on your bicycle still. So the computer will record that you would have burned so many calories because you're now riding at 60, 70, 80 kilometers an hour. So it means you were flying down the road. The computer is going to record that you're moving very, very fast when you're actually not moving fast by human effort. May I inform you that I was in the 3-stage race last year. I think it was last year. The second stage from Resignation to Georgetown, we were in a group heading down the road, maybe second or third group on the road. A cyclist was dropped. A young man dropped. We passed him. He was done with, total. When I looked back at Buxton, he was behind me and behind us, only to discover that he was put into a car, driven back to us. And when the complaint was made, you know, the person who drove him said, it's only 5 minutes. What you are around for only 5 minutes. And they gave him a prize, by the way. They gave him a prize, which means he stole somebody else's prize. So this is nothing new here. This one here, the computer said the effort you made would require your moving or using so much energy, kilocalories, that it would be recorded 6,000 calories. I mean, you had to be beyond Tadej Pogacar, the Tour de France winner, the Giro d'Italia winner, the world champion. You've done so many things. Even Tadej, Tadej burn less calories than you winning these things. You all got the point yet? And when I said, no, this is the 3-stage race, I said we have to investigate this. The person in the federation's executive refused because he was afraid that we're going to lose the opportunity to host the Caribbean Championships. So I said, you tell us as a committee when you want us to do this. We'll work with you. Since you have an issue, you tell us when. He said, after the Caribbean Championships. You all hear me? The Caribbean Championships concluded on Sunday past. On Monday, I said to him, okay, the championships are over now. We need to go back to this matter. Guess what the cat wanted to tell me? He wants to resign. I said, no. No, you're not going to exclude yourself from this. You made a promise before the Caribbean Championships that you will commit to dealing with this matter afterwards. How you not want to quit when we say we have to deal with this matter now? Because he doesn't want to be dealt with. Oh, by the way, there's certain stipulations, and of course, I pay careful attention to them. So I present them to the cycling fraternity for you to understand in Guyana that I don't function as a madman like people who deal with Tommy Hall. Right? I'm not your some club executives. And I think you know that well enough by now. But let's look at what is required. Look at this. So I was the leader of the disciplinary committee, the chair of that committee. Look at this. Let me read it for you. So what is my role if a complaint came that somebody cheated? Thank you for asking. It states that the disciplinary committee shall inquire into all complaints. Do you see that? Do you see all complaints here? Or some complaints exclude? If the club is a big club, then you don't talk. If the club is a club that has certain people that other money or connections, then you don't talk. If the club is connected to the PPP by funding or association, you don't investigate. They did not say. Somebody call me. Hope you didn't get bumped off. Can you hear me? I got a call that had to decline. Tell me if the audio is back, please. Is the audio back? All right. So this is from the Guyana Cycling Federation's constitution. The constitution states that the disciplinary committee shall inquire into all complaints, all, which may at any time be made against any member or member club or registered riding member or club member or registered riding member of a member club. And at the conclusion, now look at this carefully, at the conclusion of the inquiry, shall certify whether or not it finds the matter of the complaint sufficiently proved, and if in the affirmative, what sanction it recommends. Do you hear that? We recommend sanctions shall be imposed. Such sanction may be, now this is an old, it should have been updated. Such sanction may be by the way of a fine not exceeding $25. Of course, that can be real. The amount recommended by the rules of the UCI, or suspension or expulsion from membership of the Federation, or suspension from riding for any period not exceeding 1 year, or cancellation of a cyclist registration as a riding member of any club. So I'm presenting to you, cyclists in Guyana, you executives who went to find a lawyer, I'm presenting to you how silly you are in reference to those executives. It doesn't make any sense because the Constitution dictates that the disciplinary committee recommend. We weren't going to take an action. We're going to recommend to somebody. Now to whom? Part B. The person or member club against whom the complaint is made shall be served with a copy of the complaint at least 3 days before the day on which the inquiry is to be held, and shall be entitled to appear to be represented by not more than 2 persons duly appointed for such purpose, and to defend the charge or to show any cause why no action should be taken against such person or club thereon. For heaven's sake. As I would say to you all, oh man, this is basic common sense. The Constitution is clear that the disciplinary committee, if there's a complaint that comes to us, we have to investigate. There has to be an inquiry made or launched. So with this miraculous, fanciful data that came to us, I want you all to type, please. Was the disciplinary committee supposed to investigate? Because person came to the line and was complaining. So those in Amsterdam I'm talking about. They were complaining. One woman was very, very vocal. She said, this is cheating. And she said what she saw. There was a complaint. Cyclists began to complain. Please answer me. Let's have a public quote here. According to what I just read to you, was the disciplinary committee, of which I'm the vice president, was my committee supposed to investigate this matter? I'm waiting for you to answer. I know there's a lot, but just tell me, please. According to what I read, was there supposed to be an investigation? Secondly, do you know that I sent through the Secretary of the Federation a letter to the person to say, listen, there was a complaint lodged. We are going to investigate. You have a right to have 2 representatives who are duly appointed. You have a right to come to the hearing. Most importantly, to defend this or speak to this accusation. Fine. So I followed the Constitution, correct? That's what I did. Because this was ridiculous. How could you finish 10 minutes in reference to timing, slower than somebody else, but you finish past them on the line? It's crazy. How could you burn more calories than a world tour rider in half the time he takes to ride a whole course? This is crazy. How do you ride slower, 21 miles an hour on average, than a person rode 22 miles an hour, 1 mile an hour faster than you, which means there would have been at least 1 mile gap between y'all. but you finish ahead the person. This doesn't make any sense. So I did what was constitutionally required of me. Let me show you some more information, cyclists, because you need to know these things. And the general public, you need to know why I act the way I act, because I don't play with certain behaviors. So let's see. Not that one. This one. Oh, where is it? Ah, here it is. So we make a recommendation to the council if we had an investigation launched. And look at what happens, people. The council, not the disciplinary committee, the council shall meet, because the disciplinary committee will give them a report. So the council shall meet not less than 7 days, but not more than 10 days after the date of the transmission of the disciplinary committee's report. Do you hear the word report here? So all we had to do was was to have the hearing, and we submit the report to the council. The committee doesn't make the decision. The committee recommends that there be sanctions. The committee can recommend there be fines. The committee can recommend there be suspensions, but the committee doesn't make the decision. The committee will recommend that to the council. The council will then have the report and shall consider the same, and such representations, if any, shall have been made by way of appeal. So you can appeal now, as aforesaid, and shall determine whether it shall approve the disciplinary committee's findings and or recommendations. Oh my God. So this person had the opportunity to appeal the findings of the disciplinary committee, and they can then have the council sit and make a decision. Let me show you what this person did. Take a look at this. This is an excerpt, a part of a lawyer's letter that came to us. Take a look at this, people. Sorry, you're not seeing my face, but you need to see the content here. This person, the club, went to take an attorney. Mind you, there was no investigation. Listen to the excerpt. This is the latter part of the letter. If the Guyana Cycling Federation, GCF, wishes to persist in its inquiry, expect that before any further disciplinary action is taken, the GCF discloses the information my clients ought to be provided with. This just happens at an inquiry, by the way. My clients will not participate in an inquiry before a biased tribunal. There's nothing in the Constitution that speaks of tribunal. That's how ignorant this lawyer is. And because he's fed ignorance by people, he went along with it. So he's speaking about a tribunal. Viewers, have you heard anything about a tribunal in this conversation regarding that I read from the Constitution? The Constitution has nothing to do with a tribunal. He said, and await your communication about how the GCF and its purported, so look at the disrespect now, purported disciplinary committee will purge itself of the manifest bias. What's the bias? Because Horace rode in the race. I rode in the race. Horace and I are members of United Club. So he's saying that, oh, there'll be a bias here. Nobody named who will be on the panel to investigate this matter. Nobody said who will be sitting to make the inquiry. Nobody said, okay, this is just an inquiry, nothing else, because the decision is made by the council. Nobody from the council was racing. So the person said, okay, there's manifest bias. Look at the other part. The GCF and the disciplinary committee and the disciplinary committee should also preserve all minutes of its meetings on this matter, as I, the attorney, will ask for their disclosure in due course. You see that? Now look at the last line. As a friend of cycling, I urge the GCF to abandon this inquiry immediately. Viewers, have you seen this? Now, I've read to you what the Constitution states. When there's a complaint, there's supposed to be an investigation launched. This club went and got a lawyer. And this lawyer decided to tell the Guyana Cycling Federation that we must abandon the inquiry immediately. We mustn't investigate why somebody could write 10 minutes after and still win. Why somebody could on the clock, on the computer, show that they wrote 10 minutes slower, but they finish ahead. They found a lawyer to instruct us to abandon the investigation immediately. And this official was afraid. Now let me show you why this lawyer has no sense and why this man is absolutely stupid. Because if you have sense, you would never rush to do something so silly. And that's my view. Let me show you what the body that governs cycling across the world would chew these people up with. This is the killer right here. Some of you might be able to read it, I read it for you. This is the license given to this cyclist, right? So the cyclist is licensed to ride. Licensed by the UCI, by the way. The UCI gives all of us an ID. So you all licensed to ride the bicycle. What does the UCI license say? I agree. Good. The person agrees to abide and be bound by the UCI's constitutional regulations, in particular the UCI anti-doping rules. I also recognize, oh my goodness, the person recognizes the jurisdiction, the exclusive jurisdiction of the Court of Arbitration for Sports, CAS, in Lausanne, Switzerland, as the, oh, I'm not seeing the rest. So they recognize this court This image is too small. I'm getting old. Anyway, if there is any, who can see it? There you go. Okay. So this is saying here that there's a court of arbitration for sports in Switzerland. And the only place that you can go to fight against the Guyana Cycling Federation is to that court. You can't go to the magistrate court. You cannot go to the Supreme Court. You cannot go to the appellate court in Guyana. You have to go to the Court of Arbitration for Sports, because that is they have the exclusive jurisdiction as provided for under the relevant provision of the UCI regulations. I just saw it. So, brothers and sisters, the UCI further helps, and forgive me, this is a scientific moment here in reference to how I'm functioning, but I have to be as meticulous as I am to show you exactly how weak people are. What does the UCI state? Now, this is UCI regulations here. Remember the license for Guyana. Any Guyanese cyclist who's riding, competing has to have a license. The license at the back says the UCI is the body that you're going to abide by their rules, and that body says you can only appeal to the court of arbitration for sports. Look what the UCI said. Provision of information. Okay? 12.2.6. When information is provided by a person or entity who is to be sanctioned, so this cyclist was to be sanctioned based on what happened. So we have to say something. And this is crucial to the discovery of a serious breach of the UCI regulations. The disciplinary commission may, at its discretion, really reduce the effects or renounce the disciplinary action on the farmer. So what does that say? If you provide, as I requested, if you provide your data, and the data shows, because the cyclist has to provide, according to UCI and the Guyana Cycling Federation, you have to come to the inquiry and you have to present to us cause for us to not sanction you, which means you present your data, you present the evidence to show that you didn't do this. The UCI says, then once you present that, the matter is resolved. If we see that there's no cause to say that you cheated. In this case, there is overwhelming cause to say you cheated. I've been with you a while. Let me tell you what happened. In the end, I'll repeat. Once I said now on Monday that it's time for us to reopen this investigation, revisit this matter because somebody was disenfranchised, other cyclists were disenfranchised. The individual in the executive body said that he is going to exclude himself. The same one who asked us to wait until Caribbean Championships are over so we can revisit this and deal with this matter, on the day when I said, no, it's time to revisit it, he said, no, he's going to exclude himself. That's when I tendered my resignation immediately, because I noticed that this was a game being played with people, and it was a weak, wimpish moment that I was not going to tolerate. Now, I leave you, the cycling fraternity in this country. All cyclists, you have access to my platform. You tell the truth now as to how in the world someone can have a total time of 10 minutes more, which means he rode slower than another individual, but he crossed the line before them. You tell the whole world how it's possible for somebody to burn more calories than Tadej Pogacar, than Jonas Vingegaard, than Primoz Roglic, than Mathieu Van der Poel, than Remco Evenepoel. You tell the world how somebody in Guyana who you always beat upon, certain key cyclists. You tell me how this person could ride with more power, more energy than the best in the world, and still you beating them. You come and tell the world this, and then tell the world why I should accept that nonsense from any executive member of the Federation. I refuse to sit with people who are not going to be fair to others. No cyclist must be disenfranchised. No cyclist must lose a chance to win, because if you don't know, another cyclist was, I saw them tagging behind the car. This is not hearsay. I saw it. And this lawyer said you mustn't investigate that either. When I saw, as an executive member, that's why I ride. That's why I used to enter so many races, because I knew we didn't have enough officials. So I would ride in certain groups to see what happened. And we saw, we complained, we leveled many reports, and the same executive member did not do anything in reference to supporting our actions to go forward, because of which club it was. In closing, I ask you the question: should I remain, or should I have remained, in the executive body where this level of biasness and these actions of bigotry were directed toward the body, and the people in here couldn't act? Should I have remained? You all know me, and knowing who I am and how I am and what I stand for, should I have remained in this group under these circumstances? I asked the general public, and I asked all my cycling brothers and sisters, do you expect me to sit knowing who I am and allow this to happen? Tell me the truth. This reminds me of the PPP and elections, where they said APNU rig, and then when APNU went to the court to say, okay, we want to present our election petition so evidence can be brought to say who rigged. The PPP then went all the way to the CCJ and said, no, don't. This petition must not be heard in the court. This is what you're seeing here, where somebody who didn't cheat ran to a lawyer to say that we must not investigate. That makes sense to you? You didn't cheat, so you run to a lawyer to say, stop the investigation, because I didn't cheat, so don't investigate me. No. So please understand that this went beyond Pagwa, this went beyond Diwali, celebration, and motorcade. This is when, what you see here, once I presented this matter and the fella wanted to run out and say he's going to, he wanted to explain himself on the matter, that's when I resigned immediately, because the situation with Diwali, roads being closed, and many people didn't have a problem with that. But the same races, when the roads would have been partially closed for cycling, Caribbean Championship, they had a problem. Coupled with this nonsense, I said, I am done with you all. So you big boys in the club, you know yourselves. And I can't wait to see you in January or whenever it is, so we could talk face to face as men to men. Because you are cheats and you don't know how to deal with the reality of the situation. So did you hear me mention anybody name apart from Horace's name? No. So anybody else who comes forward now to say that I talk about them, you know exactly who it was. I play chess, I don't play checkers. I love chess. So you're not a stalemate. I didn't mention the lawyer's name either. So any lawyer who pops up now to talk, because this letter wasn't made public, I didn't show this person's signature, I didn't show the person's company's name. So any lawyer who comes forward now to talk, I don't play checkers, I play chess. And according to the UCI regulation, you could take us to court. So Dave is asking, because I'm entertained in, why y'all don't talk about all the money that was collected to sponsor the race? And they want to put a 1/6 position in the elite category. Which money was collected? Because I'm not the treasurer of the federation. But I can respond to what you've said, Dave, because it was addressed before. There is no UCI regulation, Dave Bissoon, that says there must be a first 6 position in any race. You don't seem to comprehend that yet. There is no regulation that states that they ought to be 1 to 6 in any race held anywhere in the world. Do you understand that? That is determined by the organizer of the event and, in some instances, the sponsor of the event. The sponsor of this event, being Air Finale, wanted to have one prize for elite, one prize for juniors. If you didn't know that, would you have been satisfied with that? Would you, Dave, have been okay with it being just the first place given to Jamal, first being given to Alex, and that's the end of it? Would you have been okay with that? 6th position was limited because that's a choice that was made. It's that simple. You could be you take my place in the executive, become the treasurer, become the president, and you make a decision. But I just asked a question. You can answer me honestly. Do you prefer, or would you prefer to ride a race in which there's only 2 categories, junior, elite? The elite winner gets $500,000. The junior gets $250,000, and no other prize is given. Would you be okay with that? Just be a man and tell the truth, because I know you. And you see, man, you have to come and type on the broadcast. And this broadcast has nothing to do with what you talk about, by the way. Because it's a part that you're not inclined to understand or to receive what is basic. The positions in a race are determined by the organizer thereof. There's no rule in cycling that says you have to have 1st or 6th in every race. No such rule exists. So just answer my question, please. Air Finale, who was the patron of the race, said he wants to have, and the sponsor, the winner of the race gets $500,000. The winner of the junior gets $250,000. Can you indicate, sir, whether you've been okay riding for nothing? Is winner take all? Did you want that to happen? At least you could be man enough and answer, Dave. Somebody's trying to call me. Come, hurry up. I have to go. But I'm waiting for you to answer. Since you want to come in the broadcast and type, no problem, but just answer me. And when you say you guys, is not a healthy way to speak. Don't speak to me about you guys. I function in the disciplinary committee. There's no you guys here. And Dave, you should know. You should know very well that I have lobbied, as you are aware of, for there to be a cut 4, among others. So let's get it straight. So you could be awarded something. So let's get it right, please. But you can't answer me, can you? That shows how much of a man you are. I'm different from you. That's why I tell you, when I come to talk, I don't talk with water in my mouth, and I don't try to figure out what I'll say next. Maybe you could try doing that. Try being prepared before you come to talk on my broadcast. It will help you. Are we cool? But if you can't answer me, it says a lot about what you are. So you can't answer. You cannot answer because you cannot be honest with yourself. So before you speak, as Joel said, how this makes any sense to you? Now you know what Irfan Ali would have done. I told you what the president required. Now you tell me the president would have done. I told the people who refuse to go back to represent you if you don't know. Or an individual who refused to go and stand up for what was right for cycling. You know how much Horace had to go through to try to get you all to get certain prices. So get yourself together. Now you know what, Irfan, I'm sure if you guys, look what this fellow saying. I'm sure if you guys did explain to Mr. President that the price normally be at 1 to 6, he would have facilitated with it. Says who? You don't know what Irfan Ali would do? Get sense, boy. Come on, Dave. Or maybe you want to have 1 to 6 and no cut 4. That's what you wanted? Because it doesn't seem as if you know what you want. You had 1 to 6 and no category 4 to 5. But however you saw that, no, we have cut 4 and 5 and 1 to 5. So you'd prefer to have a whole group of people get nothing. But I don't believe you, man. Anyway, as I said, Dave, you come on my broadcast to talk, so I'll talk to you man to man. You're not man enough to answer the question truthfully. Because I asked you the question. The president wanted to have 2 categories, elite get $500,000, Junior get $250,000. Is that what you wanted to have happen? Exactly, because you don't understand. Also, with all the money was given, what you say don't make sense. You need to answer the question because you don't understand how the money came and why it came. So let me teach you if you don't understand. How did it come? Because representation was made for you and others. Good? That's how it came. People began to represent you all. The same you all you talk about, the same you guys and the same whatever it is. No. We began to make representation because it is not the norm for there to be just one price. So we began to make representation to ensure that as many cyclists as possible benefit. You feel better now? Now, this right here is an accusation that you can land yourself in court for. Don't play with me today. Don't play with me. Do not play with me to say that you guys put the money in your own benefit. Once you do that, will be a problem. It's not a contact number. You have to get send your number. Let this record be here, Dave, and Dave be soon. Because this accusation thing again could land you in the court of law. There is no contact number for my life. You send your number, it'll be added to the broadcast. And I'll leave this right here for the Guyana Cycling Federation to see what you said. Let me see if this other fellow can deal with you. Because this can brought him too. So a comment like what Dave Bissoon just said should land him before disciplinary committees. I hope you understand what happens now. So when a cyclist says something like that, he goes before the committee because he made a statement that the federation is pilfering money. The executive body, that is, of the federation, that they are stealing or putting, that's what you call pilfering. So I'm waiting for you, Dave. It's already an hour past. I have things to do. So you could get your number out here. Because once you say you guys, you've included me. And you can be made to answer in the court of law as to why you said I took money for my benefit or for my own personal use. You just need attention because it does not make any sense. If you say, and this is the last man post a comment from me, yes, I said it because you guys put money into category that only have one rider. That's a female category. That don't make any sense. Now it making sense. It didn't make sense to me either. However, that's not putting money to your own use. Speak with common sense. To say that somebody put money into their own use, it means a person have taken the federation's money and used it for the personal gain. So don't tell the judge you don't understand what you said. So you better retract your statement as quickly as possible. To say that we took the money from one group and give it to an individual, which would be the female, because that's obviously what happened. We're talking about. That is different from saying this. When you say this, it's a whole different meaning. You guys put the money in your own benefits. That is different. What you say here is totally different from what you're saying here. But I would not allow you to distract from what pertains here. Or what is the focal point? The focal point, I mean, we could speak to that. How do cyclists, how does a cyclist cover, and I close, half a mile more, 10 minutes after another person, ride 1 mile per hour slower than another person, but still finishes ahead of the person? Dave, you can answer that question. Because you and I race in the same category, so maybe you can be a man and answer that question for us. How is it possible? Maybe you could talk to that. Anyway, viewers, I thank you for your time. My point has been made. You can understand now why I resigned, more so when I did it. Good? You can understand clearly when I resigned, and some of you can relate to why I did it. So it was not about the motorcade. That was just added to, that's why I said events following the broadcast. That's why I said. Because once the firestorm started, this individual wanted to back out of his responsibility to ensure that we see through the inquiry. And once he wanted to escape or to avoid being responsible for dealing with this matter, I left the Federation's executive because I don't play with that kind of nonsense. Cheating, I hate it. I despise it. I have never done it. Oh, so David clarifying, you got sense now. You at least alone. I'll give you this. I said I won't put another comment. Put it back just to save you because we cool. You see what he now said? You guys put money into categories that do not have cyclists. The light, why didn't put the 1 to 6 position? That's always there for many years. Now your comment making a bit more sense. But don't ever run around me with that nonsense. Don't you ever disrespect yourself about people for my own benefit. Don't include me in that. Don't you ever do that where I'm concerned. And you're gone with this you guys again. I said to you, like, you don't understand common English language, Dave. You have a deficiency in English language being understood. I said that you make sense. There should not be one person who gets a prize for doing nothing. I said that. I said you make sense. You still want to argue? Okay, so let me bring this on. So they want to have a moment with me. Let's have a moment. You, as an executive member of the Federation, should not be competing with cyclists. That's number one. Says who? Says who? Tell me who. Paul Trinam was a racing vice president of all things. Racing vice president. And he was racing for years in that position. What did you say? Have you ever objected to that at a line? So hush him out and stop his stupidness. Why? Because no one, and I know Paul, I've never seen Paul select a race course to his benefit. That's when people are doing things that are wrong. I've never seen Paul decide he's going to disqualify somebody so he could gain a prize. I've never ever seen anyone do that. So get a grip of yourself. Because like you're at a shop somewhere and them boys been telling what to say. There can only be that comment made when there is an obvious bias. So tell me how and when there was ever bias exercised by me or anybody who raced from the Federation. When? As I said, send your number. I'll send you the link so you can come live on video. Show the whole world who Dave is. Come. If you're by the shop and the boys telling what to say, then maybe you can bring them on the broadcast too. Because like, it don't make sense to you. Sorry, I ain't got all day. I'll pause for a few minutes since it's lunchtime for some people. Give you a second to come on the broadcast to show the whole world that you man enough to talk to me publicly. So come and let's do it. Hurry up. You're waiting. I got some time to commit to you, so hurry up. Let's see what you're saying. So I put the statement up again. Good. That the executive member shouldn't raise. As I said to you, Paul Suriname was racing for years as the racing vice president. Rode national championships, and it was not an issue. You know why? Because he was not being dishonest. He was not being biased. The Constitution of Guyana Cycling Federation does not prohibit an executive from racing anywhere. The UCI governs professional sports. The UCI governs cycling in a manner. 6084. No, okay, it's good. So you get a link on WhatsApp. Give me a second. Let me send Dave the link. Let's see if he's gonna join. And if he speaks, if you're in absence, I'll cut you off this broadcast. I don't think I'm gonna make noise and you're not gonna listen. Or you're not speak and then listen. 608-4006. Good. You stay put. Good. So Dave, you've been sent a link. Check your WhatsApp inbox. Click on that link. Follow the instructions. You'll be right on my page. You'll be in the video. Coming at 2 minutes. I'll wait a second because I need to really come in this broadcast. Hurry up. Are we still live? Because you're waiting for Dave to join. Hurry up, Doc. Has anybody seen Dave? Because I'm not seeing him. 10 minutes there. Thank you, Andrea. I sent you the link. I just told you that link has been sent to your WhatsApp. And just tell you that. Check WhatsApp. Let's just throw the round number. 6084006. Hold on, y'all. I think that number is still I saved Dave the odds. Okay, Dave, do us a favor. What you can do, you set the UCI rules, say that executives can't raise. Let me see what you said. So what you can do, under the UCI rules, no executive members should be competing with the cyclists, which you are doing. Not supposed to be, right? So just post that article, the chapter, section of the UCI rules. Let put it up there, please. Help us out. For one, I do not compete as an elite. Second, as I've said, I told you with common sense why, and you could understand just what I'm saying to you. We don't have a lot of officials on the road. So I entered the races to ride with y'all. You know just what I'm talking about. So when I say I see certain things, you can't say I didn't see it. But you can understand why you have a problem. It's okay, Dave. We can all understand why you have an issue with what I just said. You know that just Terry goes in his motorbike. And Terry goes up the road and members Dowager go up the road. So they can't see everything. So what I did as an executive, I decided that I am going to ride the race with y'all. And I will ride in certain groups and watch what y'all doing. So you know just what I'm talking about. So when I say that I see something happen, you can't say I didn't see it. I don't go to third and fourth hand report. So maybe that's why I have a problem in my writing as an executive. That's why I have a problem? Huh? Because you know just what I'm talking about. So I ride with certain groups and I ensured I could see what happened. Is that why you have a problem, Dave? You could tell your cycling buddies why I have an issue. Because I believe that my riding among the group would make it fair for everybody, since as the one who would have been at that time there, disciplinary committee, I could see who was in discipline. I can go to the line, I could be in the group, the peloton, to hear who want to cuss who, so I could talk firsthand. It seems if you have a problem with that, and I want to know why, Dave. Maybe you could tell the world why you have a problem with it. You care to share? Do you care to tell us why? Because in the 3-state race going up to quarantine, I saw, you and I saw. You know what I saw? I watched wholeheartedly with you. Me and I are in the same group. You want to tell everybody what you saw, Dave? I know my phone keeps going black. Come on, Dave, let's make this exciting. Tell everyone what you saw when you and I were in the same group riding up to quarantine in the first stage of the 3-stage race. Let's see if you can be man enough to do that too. Tell us, type it here. This is funny. I wasn't going to laugh today, but this one is funny for me. Dave, please type here what you and I saw. I was the executive, as you said, riding in the race, and you know just what happened. Don't lie. Because you know, even at that forum, I said, I am not an executive. Be honest. With Sean and others said, I am not, Chinchan and Terry said, I am not riding as an executive. Be honest. Horace and I said, we make no decisions about this race. Be honest. And that was done at a technical meeting. So when complaints were made, we said go to the executive who is responsible. Be honest. But once that happens and the report comes, then I kick in based on the report now as an executive, because no, you're not going to cheat and get away with it. Nobody will do that. So they didn't wait for us to arrange the committee that would sit to have the inquiry done. No, because people are scared. But I'm waiting for you, Dave. Type and tell the world here quickly, please. What did you see? What did you and I see riding together going up when we started the race, when we took the turn by the New Amsterdam Hospital? Tell us what you saw when we got over the bridge and hit Palmyra section. Tell the whole world, Dave, because you're riding together. I give you 2 more minutes to tell us what you saw, and then I'm done. Because if you can, I was waiting, and you took the bait. So you stayed long enough to get yourself set up right now. So I rode with you. You rode with me. We were together, Dave, in the same group, Ralph and all of us. Tell us what you saw, please. Going up the 19 road. Tell us how hard we worked to kill ourselves and we couldn't catch. Tell them why. Those of you by the shop, if Dave is wrong, y'all, ask it talk. Because I know Dave can't talk already. I know that your boy Dave can't even type what he saw. This is how much a man y'all be. Huh? You can't even type what you saw. Look how long you take. You watch the who took money to benefit. No, type and tell the whole world what you saw, man. You have 1 more minute left. Tell the world what you saw, Dave. It doesn't have to be a long report. A very short report. Because the UCI, according to what you're quoting, prohibits what you and I saw. Has anybody noticed that Dave cannot comment? So there is Dave. Let's add Dave to the stage. Put the camera on. We can hear you, Dave. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly, sir.
Good. Welcome to this broadcast. Let's begin with what I'm asking to do. Can you tell the whole world what you
Go
saw?
ahead.
Since I'm not supposed to be as an executive, what did you see on the road to going up 19 while you and I were together?
What did I saw on the 19 road while we are
What
riding
did you
together?
see? What did you see in the first stage of the 3-stage race? You and I were in the same group
Uh-huh.
with Ralph and other people. Do you
Uh-huh.
want to say what you saw? Because executives are not supposed to write. So
If
as a
you ask
cyclist,
me
can
what
you
I
say what you
saw,
saw and why you can catch?
if you asked me what I saw, I can told you that I saw a big open road with a lot of houses and where we go head into the destination. You gotta ask me in a different way what happened
No.
or
So
if
no,
it's something
race
else. You
wise.
can't ask me what I
No,
saw.
race wise. No, I know
Wait,
you're
why?
smart. So race wise, in reference to the race and the rules were broken, did you see any rule being broken in the race while we went together? Did you see anybody cheating then?
I would not say I saw nobody cheating because in our group there wasn't enough men that I could have tell. I rode away with a few men and you guys was at the back.
No, we were together. You rode away till in past Rosal. Don't do that.
I
I'd say
rode
the
away
19 road.
from the 19 road. I rode
Where
away from you
Rosal?
guys.
No, you didn't. Anyways, you
Just
can't be answered by
after
that
that.
one. You and I were together. I said when the race started, when we got to Palmyra through the bridges, when we got to the 19 road, all through the 19 road, you and I were together. Don't do it. Only Ralph went
Okay, if you
out.
see
You were right there. Did you
Roy
see
was
anybody?
Roy, listen to
Did
me,
you
was
see
Roy Manley.
anybody motivated? Come on, talk.
I
Did you
have
see
not
anybody
seen
behind the
I have
vehicle?
not seen nobody motivating.
Thank you very much, Charles. So I know you would have done that. So let's go to the other part. So just remember what you
No,
said,
no, no,
because
no,
this is
no.
this is recorded
I
live,
am
right?
being
You didn't see.
realistic. I am being realistic. On the 90 road, nobody was motivating, none at
So
all.
you saw nobody motivating in this whole race, correct?
I could have not watched the whole race because you guys run the race category wise, whereby we hardly have a handful of cyclists, whereby you send 5 man, 10 man here, there, and everywhere. You guys should have run the race together, all the race leave together, and don't put it in a way that you wanted the veteran to go. You guys put in the veteran, right? On the 50, which is big man to ride with the elite guys, and the cat 4, which is us, which is the future of cycling, to ride by themselves at the back. How do you guys expect us to meet the level when we come out of category?
All right. So let me ask you a question again. because it seems as if you're not going to address what's being asked. Let me move on to the other
Or to
part.
go in to
You,
make us go
you,
faster.
1 second. You are saying to all the people who are viewing here on the cycling bodies who may be around, who may be viewing this at some point, that you did not see. Remember who you're talking to here now. You were saying that you did not see anybody cheating in this race. That's what you're telling me? You want to take this, say that publicly?
Okay.
Do you honestly want to take the chance of saying that publicly to everybody that you did not see anybody facing behind a vehicle, which is called drafting, behind a vehicle riding away from us? You didn't see that at all.
So that's impossible for us to ride in a race and look on people who motor pacing.
So you didn't
know
see.
that.
All right, good. All right. Okay, no, you didn't see. It's okay. You didn't see. All
I
right, good. So
think
let's go to
since
the other
you
part.
on the live broadcast, you should be man enough to call name who you saw
No.
motor pacing.
Not me, because you said no, don't tell me I should man up. This is my
So
broadcast.
if
You didn't tell
you
me I
didn't
should
see,
do.
and
I saw.
so Mr. Nigel, if you didn't saw, how do you expect me to saw?
I saw. And I'm telling you what I saw. And there was an investigation based on what I saw and what you saw and what other people reported. But suddenly you
This
ain't got eyes. So it's
allegation
okay.
has
Let's go to
been,
the other part.
this, alleg-
No man,
this allegation that you are making here, right? Give me a chance to
let's
speak,
go.
please.
Hold on. Let's go to the other part. Because you don't address what you told me yourself. But let's go to the other part. You speak about executives not being allowed to ride according to UCI rules. Which rule is that? Now you can speak. The floor is yours. Which of the UCI rules prohibits a local executive from riding in the group or riding in a race? It seems I can't hear you. I don't know if I'm at your phone. Are you there, Dave? Like somebody, your child got your phone or what?
It's probably
Oh, you can hear me?
sucks. Anyhow, go.
You hear me? I'm hearing you.
I'm joining you. I hear you now.
Good. Okay, perfect. Tell us, according to the UCI, which of the UCI regulations, they have articles, they have rules. Which of the UCI rules presented to the public prohibits or stops an executive member of a local group or any national group from riding with a peloton, from racing with a group?
The only individual cyclist that can ride with the peloton, which is the cyclist on the federation as an executive member, is the cyclist representative, right? The president
Say it again.
of the cycle federation, the only members of the only person as an executive member on the federation could ride with the cyclist that I have known about is the cyclist representative.
No, man, listen. I'm
Are
not
you a
asking no
cyclist
about. I'm
representative?
asking, please refer to the UCI's code or regulations. I'm not you know about. I'm asking a very simple question. Can you tell us, because I can check it for you. You can check it for me. Tell us, according to Article 12, as you saw I did when I was in my broadcast, according to this article or this part of the UCI code, you're not allowed to ride as an executive. Can you say if you can see that? And if you don't know it, just say you don't know. Or I want your boy send it to you quickly, please. Good. So it means you can't find it. Good. But as I've said before, since you've got the concept of fairness involved, it is expected that if an official, that's why the racing secretary should not be racing among people, because the racing secretary of all people determine where the race would be held, who could ride what and whatever. So, but even with that, we allowed Suriname to race. You were out. For years he was there because he was not being unfair. There was never a report of Paul was being unfair. You can't find it. So I'm still waiting for you to find it to help us out, because it's already an hour and a half into this broadcast. So Dave is off the broadcast. If you want to come back, you could talk. So you want to talk. Now this is a perfect example where I said, okay, present to us the evidence. See how simple it is? Present us with the facts, and we'll go by the facts you present. The same man who came to complain to me as an executive that someone was pacing or being pulled behind a vehicle, which is called motor pacing or drafting. The same person now suddenly on this live broadcast can't see what he saw. That's how dishonest people are. And why don't deal with certain individuals? Anyway, thank you all for your time. I see some folks are calling me. I'll call you back and we'll talk. Delon. These questions are hard for you to answer. Indeed, they are. It's unfortunate what Guyana's come to, man. Right? I asked Dave to be a man. Say what you say. How could you come and complain to me after the race? Actually, we're together. You and I were riding together, Ralph, and others were called Ralph because there were people in the group. And we were looking and saying, look, he's behind the car. You were doing, look, he's behind the motorcycle. We were saying what we saw. And now you're telling me that you were telling me that you can't ride this group and see what you're doing. Nah, Dave, that's not cool. That's not cool. What you did today, no, man. No. And that's the kind of weakness that I speak that I don't tolerate. That's the sort of way when an executive said, okay, then we'll deal with the matter after agreement championships. When the championship finished, he wants to remove himself from the matter. I don't play with that kind of nonsense. I'm not doing that. And I will always speak to Horace Burroughs being a manly man. There's certain people, Hector and other guys, and many people around me in cycling. Lear, that's why Lear, I call his name. These guys are not weak people. You came to me and said, and had an issue that somebody's motor pacing. You did it. I'm talking about how hard you rode. Don't do it. Don't let me do it today. Anyway, Dave is off the broadcast and back in the chat. All right. So with that said, bye y'all. Do well. Now you know when I resigned, and you know what would have lent itself to my tendering my resignation immediately. Now you know why. Bye.